Curiosity is often the gateway to the darkest corners of the internet. For a college student named James, a late-night scrolling session on Reddit introduced him to the Tor browser and the hidden depths of the deep web. Intrigued by threads discussing the strangest things people had found online, he downloaded the software and began exploring. He found a hidden directory containing various links. While he was careful to steer clear of anything highly illegal, he eventually stumbled upon a directory known as the Black Pages. The site featured a stark black background populated with red and yellow hyperlinks. The red links had disturbing titles like Personal Assassin and Dead Pets, making James realize just how twisted this unmonitored network truly was. Against his better judgment, he clicked a yellow link that simply said, Secret Society Chat. The page took an unusually long time to load. James stared at a blank white screen for nearly a minute before it finally turned black and a chat box appeared. Next to the chat box was a black video screen. Thinking it was just an empty room, James typed, "Hey," into the chat. What happened next made his blood run cold. The video feed suddenly illuminated, revealing a person wearing a grotesque mask, sitting in a dimly lit room. A second later, James's heart nearly stopped. A second video window popped up on the site. It was a live feed of his own face. The website had forcefully bypassed his security and activated his webcam, which he always kept turned off. Panicking, James covered his laptop camera with his thumb and tried to close the browser, but his taskbar had completely vanished, along with the minimize and exit buttons. He mashed Ctrl+Alt+Delete, but his computer was completely locked up. Then, a muffled, distorted voice came through his laptop speakers, masked by a heavy voice changer. "I still see you, James." The hacker knew his actual name. Trembling, James held down the physical power button on his laptop for what felt like an eternity until the screen finally went black. He deleted the Tor browser the moment he rebooted his computer. He thought it was over, just a scare tactic from a low-life hacker. But 2 weeks later, his mother handed him an envelope that had arrived in the mail. There was no return address. James ripped it open and unfolded a single piece of paper. Written in huge, bold letters were 3 words: "Don't come back." He never told his parents or the police, terrified of how the masked man had found his real-life address. The anonymity of the dark web provides a shield for the most depraved individuals on Earth. Michael, a young man from Massachusetts, experienced this firsthand when he stumbled upon a deeply buried archive page that linked to a site called Human Experiments. The homepage was written in a bloody red font. The introductory text claimed that the site existed to prove that not all humans are born equal. It detailed horrific experiments conducted on homeless individuals and unfortunate victims who had been abducted. The tortures ranged from starvation and heat tolerance to extreme physical pain. Thinking he was desensitized from seeing shock videos in the past, Michael made the mistake of clicking on the first photo gallery. He was immediately hit with a wave of severe nausea. The images showed innocent people enduring unimaginable horrors. He scrolled to the bottom of the page, completely disgusted, only to find a small chat box waiting for him. A line of text automatically populated the box. "Did you enjoy the site?" Michael typed back, "Who is this?" The stranger evaded the question, asking what his favorite part of the site was. When Michael demanded to know who he was talking to again, the stranger finally admitted he was the owner and creator of the website. Fueled by anger and disgust, Michael typed that the site was sick and inhumane and threatened to report it immediately to the authorities. That was his biggest mistake. There was a long, agonizing pause. Then the owner replied, I see your name is Michael and you live in Massachusetts." Michael froze, but tried to call the hacker's bluff. He typed, "No, you're wrong." 10 seconds later, the owner sent another message that made Michael's stomach drop. It was his complete, exact home address. The owner's final message simply read, "Have a nice day." Michael slammed his laptop shut and immediately dialed 911. When the police arrived, he explained everything. Unfortunately, because the Tor browser bounces IP addresses and doesn't save history, the police couldn't trace the link or find the site owner. However, they strongly advised Michael's family to relocate if the threat was genuine. Thankfully, they were already looking to move and rushed the sale of their house. To this day, Michael lives with the guilt of putting his family in danger, proving that there is absolutely nothing good to be found in the deep web. Before it was shut down by the FBI, the Silk Road was the most infamous illegal marketplace on the dark web. It operated like an Amazon for contraband. For a 17-year-old high schooler named Eric, it seemed like the perfect solution to a weekend problem. Eric's parents had gone to Atlantic City for the weekend, leaving him the house to himself. He and his friends wanted to buy some marijuana, but their usual local dealer had just moved out of state. Desperate, Eric remembered hearing about the Silk Road from older kids at school. He downloaded the necessary software, bought a small amount of Bitcoin, and logged on to the hidden marketplace. He found a vendor with high ratings, placed an order for a small amount of weed, and used his real home address for the delivery, assuming it would arrive safely in the mail a week later, hidden inside a DVD case, as the forums had promised. But the internet isn't always as anonymous as it seems. At 2:00 a.m. that very same night, Eric was playing video games in the living room when he heard a heavy knock on the front door. He paused his game. No one should be at his house at this hour. He crept to the front hallway and looked through the peephole. Standing on his dark porch was a tall, gaunt man wearing a black hoodie pulled tightly over his head. In his hands, he was holding a small, brown-padded envelope. Eric's blood ran cold. The dark web vendor wasn't supposed to hand-deliver the package. They were supposed to be miles or even countries away. But whoever had accepted his Bitcoin transaction was local. The man knocked again, harder this time. Thump, thump, thump. "Eric!" a raspy voice called out from the other side of the door. "I brought your package. Open up." Eric backed away from the door, his hands shaking. He ran to the kitchen and grabbed a large knife, hiding in the dark hallway. He listened as the man jiggled the front doorknob, trying to force it open. After 5 agonizing minutes of silence, Eric heard footsteps retreating down the driveway. He didn't sleep the rest of the night. When the sun finally came up, Eric cautiously opened the front door. The brown padded envelope was sitting on the welcome mat. He picked it up and opened it. There was no marijuana inside. Instead, there was a single printed photograph of Eric sitting on his couch playing video games, taken through his living room window from the dark backyard just hours earlier. On the back of the photo, written in black marker, was a Bitcoin wallet address and a demand for $5,000, or the photos would be sent to the police. Eric destroyed his hard drive that morning and never touched the dark web again.